What is going on with the election? Well, here's everything you need to know about the latest drama regarding the election. Right now, let's talk about the Senate. The Senate hangs in a balance of 49 seats for Democrats, 49 seats for Republicans. This is a big deal because it means that Democrats need just one seat to win control. Now, you might think to yourself, wait a minute, Kevin, 49 plus 49, that's 2 seats left for election. And this is true. But Democrats only need one seat to go from 49 to 50. Add the VP Kamala Harris as a tie-breaking vote as the 51st vote, and you beat Republicans even if they get to 50. Because that's actually where we stand now and have been at for the last 2 years. A 50-50 Senate with Kamala Harris as the tiebreaker. Now, of course, you have Manchin and Sinema, which have made the Democratic agenda a little bit more limited or restricted in its progress or progressiveness. And a lot of people see that as okay. A lot of people call Manchin and Sinema basically closeted Republicans trying to pull America towards the middle, or they're evil Democrats. However you look at it, it doesn't matter. They're still going to be around. Either way, if Democrats get to 51 seats, though, if they win the next 2, then at least they'll have a little bit more edge only having to convince one of them rather than both of them, right? And that's still possible. In fact, if you go to predictit.org, the betting markets are suggesting that Democrats are actually going to end up with 51 Senate seats, and Republicans will end up with 49. That means you can actually knock out the opinions of one of those people, Manchin or Sinema, to get legislation passed. But that does you no good if the Republicans control the House. So let's talk about that. But look at these odds here. We're at 98 cents that Democrats are going to control the Senate. And then obviously the odds would be less that they're actually going to get both seats. But that's the majority opinion right now, is that they'll end up getting both seats. We'll see. That's going to come down to the Georgia runoff, which you could see right now is leaning blue or leaning Democratic at 76 cents. That means that Raphael Warnock, or the Reverend, would win over Herschel Walker, who's endorsed and backed by Trump. Now, speaking of Trump, before we talk about the House, what's going on with Trump? And how does he feel about the fact that Arizona was just called for Democrats? And where's this major announcement that he keeps alluding to that everyone's waiting for? Well, here's what Donald Trump is up to on Truth Social. He says the following: idiot and possible corrupt officials have lost control of tainted election in America. And then in all caps, machines broken in Republican areas. So, folks, only in Republican areas, the voting machines are broken. They're rigged, okay? According to Donald Trump. A new election must be called for immediately. So let's redo all of Arizona. Arizona, by the way, the votes came in at 1.128 for Mark Kelly, the Democrat, also the incumbent. And then Blake Masters had just over 1,000,005 votes. So you do have a delta there. A delta of about 123,000 votes, maybe even 124,000 votes. That's a lot. That's about 9 to 10% of a difference. So that's not really like a nail biter like what we're seeing in Nevada. Nevada, you've actually got the Republican ahead right now, but by only 900 votes. And that 900 votes is going to be conditioned, or like the outcome of that polling in Nevada is going to be dependent on counties like Reno, which is a flip area, and Clark, which tends to be a little bit more left-leaning. So this is why I think the betting markets are suggesting Dems have a good shot at taking Nevada. And then, of course, we have to wait for Georgia until December 6th, because that's when the runoff is. Anyway, Donald Trump continues his rant here. You can see that was posted, the first one there was 10 hours ago. Then you have a $49 heater advertisement, which is actually cool that they actually have advertisements running. So they're getting their platform going. But anyway, 10 hours ago, 11 hours ago, what do we have from Trump? Rigged elections, open borders equals third world country. The U.S. is a failing nation. Now I hate saying it, but I mean, for Donald Trump, I think he's really just shooting himself in the foot over and over again, because I really don't think the majority of Americans think the U.S. is a failing nation. Now, there are probably more Americans who question elections, but I don't think people in general think we're a failing nation. But hey, maybe you do. Let me know in the comments. What do you think? Are we a failing nation? Anyway, I just think some of these comments are really extreme. But then again, they get attention, right? Now they're finding all sorts of ballots in Clark County. Remember, that's the one that I said leans left, right? They're pulling out all stops to steal the election from Adam Laxalt. Mitch McConnell, the Republicans' broken down Senate leader, does nothing about this. He's too busy spending vast amounts of money on bad Senator Lisa M. of Alaska, when Kelly S. is far better. Should have fought and stopped the steal in 2020. Gave Dems $4 trillion, never used debt ceiling. He's the worst. And this is where he's referring to essentially negotiating a budget increase and actually passing a budget rather than shutting down the government over the last 2 years. And even though Republicans didn't vote for Biden's $1,400 stimulus check, you needed the debt ceiling to be able to pull that off. Or at least you could have, I guess, in retrospect, said, hey, well, you passed that $1,400 stimulus check. Now we're just going to shut down the whole government, because those negotiations happened like 6 months later. Anyway, that's Trump. We still don't have the major announcement from Trump. There was some talk that Donald Trump is going to wait to see how the Nevada election shakes out, and then maybe we'll have a major announcement from Trump, which is obviously expected to be his front-running presidential campaign for 2024. Maybe we'll have that next week, but others are saying, no, Donald Trump, you should wait until the Georgia runoff. But either way, we also have the House of Representatives, which currently sit at a balance of 201 seats for Democrats and 211 seats for Republicans. This means in order for Republicans to have control of the House, they only need 7 seats, and there are about 23 elections left. So out of 23 elections, you really only need to win 1 in 3 elections for Republicans to take control of the House. And so if you're wondering, like, hey, are we going to see gridlock? The predicted betting markets are putting this at an 84% chance that we're going to see a Republican House and a Democratic-controlled Senate. So you will see that gridlock. These are where the elections are left. You've got one over here in Maine, New York, you've got Alaska, but most of the elections are over here on the West Coast, a little bit in Colorado, Arizona. But if you individually click on these, you can see almost all of these elections are very, very close. I mean, look at this. This is less than 100 votes apart, this election over here. This election's about 15,000 apart, but that's all Dems, so that one doesn't matter. It's a Democrat running versus a Democrat. Here's one, Republican versus Democrat is less than 1,000 votes apart. Here's another one, Democrat versus a Republican. This one's about 13,000 apart. You've got another 20,000 apart over here, 7,000 apart over here, 4,000 apart over here. But if you just look for where red is leading, you've got a leading red in California is 45 over here. So there's one. There's a leading Republican, but only by about, by about 2,000-ish votes over here. So let's just say that's 2 Republicans right there. And remember, you only need 7. So, and then Republicans have control of the House, which leads to gridlock. Here's another one. Kiley, I ran against him for governor. That's cool. I debated with him too. That's 3. That's 4 right here for Republicans. That is not Republican. That looks like Dem. Here's 5 for Republicans. Go over here. Dem leading. Here's a Republican. That's 6. Let's pop over here to New York. Here's a Republican. That's 7. There you go. You're at 218. And then that's assuming you don't lose just those 7 and you don't get any kind of more flips in some of the other districts that we just didn't all click on. So what does that mean for the stock market? Well, actually, I think it's relatively bullish for the stock market, because I would expect that come next week, so probably by the 18th of November, which is a week before our Black Friday coupon code expires on all the programs on Building Your Wealth. Get lifetime access for all of those. Elite Hustlers being one of the separate ones that has a monthly component to it. Great programs, though. Check them out, especially Zero to Millionaire Real Estate Investing. But what does it mean for the stock market? So, look, the stock market is looking for gridlock. The stock market is looking for Republicans to take the House. It seems like about 85% likely that Republicans are going to take the House, and it seems, it is still possible that Democrats can get control of the House, it seems very, very slim. So I think markets are confident that Republicans are going to create gridlock. Sure, Democrats could end up getting 51 seats in a democratically controlled Senate, and that will let them water down the power of Manchin and Sinema, one of them. It's not going to be enough for them to actually be able to really pass legislation through the House, because the House will be controlled by Republicans, and they will probably stop anything that they don't agree with that is not bipartisan. And that's really what the stock market looks forward to. So generally, we see the largest stock market returns in the year following a midterm election, on average 18 to 19%. This isn't really an average year, though, obviously with the craziest inflation that we're seeing. But when you combine the year after a midterm election with the fact that inflation may be peaking, you could actually be destined for a really strong stock market over the next 13 months. So basically from now through 2023, which is super exciting. So anyway, fingers crossed. Thanks so much for watching, and folks, we'll see you in the next one.